Now, how good was Damaso Garcia for the Toronto Blue Jays? Well, for the few seasons he was on his game, he was an all-star, probably one of the best players we ever had from the DR, originally from Mocha. But his time on the field and off the field was surrounded either by tragedy or controversy. We'll talk about most of the highlights and the tragic end to his life. Now, originally a footballer, born Damaso Domingo Garcia Sanchez, 7th of February 57, came up through the Yankees system before being traded to Toronto. He was such a good footballer when in 74, he was a club captain of Universidad Católica Madre y Maestra. That year, Garcia also played as captain for the DR's national football team at the 74 Central American Caribbean Games. Now, he made his major league debut with the Yankees in 78. He played in 29 games over the following two seasons before being traded with Chris Chambliss and Paul Mirabella to the Blue Jays for Tom Underwood, Rick Cerrone, and Ted Wilborn prior to the 1980 season. Of course, Toronto eventually traded Chambliss to Atlanta. As Toronto's regular second baseman from 80 to 86, he batted over 300 twice in 82 and 83, with his 310 mark placing him sixth in the American League. In 82, Garcia posted 54 stolen bases that campaign, made him second in the AL, and 46 in 84, sixth overall. He was an all-star twice in 84-85. Of course, he was a big part of Toronto's first division title in that 85 campaign over the Yankees. He also won the 82 Silver Slugger Award. Now, despite this, on-field and off-field problems hounded him. He batted leadoff during most of his tenure with the Blue Jays, but was eventually dropped in ninth spot in the order at the beginning of the 86 season, where he struggled to adjust. As a result, on May 14, 86, following a loss to the A's, he burned his uniform in the hopes of ending the slump. This move anchored the very, very stoic Jimmy Williams, who confronted the second baseman from the entire team and strained Garcia's relationship with the Blue Jays. He was eventually traded with fellow Latino player Louis Leal to the Braves that year for Craig McMurtry just before 87 spring training. Following the trade, Garcia struggled to find a big league home. He played briefly with the Braves in 88 and the Expos in 89, but failed to make the cut during the same period with the LA Dodgers and the New York Yankees. At the end of his career, after retiring, he compiled a 283 batting average, 36 homers, 323 runs batted in, 490 runs, and 203 stolen bases. Now, a year after he retired, Garcia, for some reason, started to have double vision. He was eventually diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor. In 91, Garcia had the tumor removed, and it was told he only had 6 months to live. However, he did survive. The effects of the tumor left Garcia with limited speech and difficulty performing certain functions, such as driving a car. He recovered enough to throw out the first pitch at a Blue Jays playoff game in 92. Garcia did a lot in retirement. He ran a baseball camp at the DR for children who had hemophilia, a condition afflicting his oldest son. Unfortunately, he died in St. Pedro Macari on April 15, 2020, at the age of 63 due to cancer. Now, the 85 season was a glory year because we had a lot of the remnants of the early 1980 strong teams, and with enough veterans like Al Oliver and Jeff Burroughs and Cliff Johnson to help out. I don't think Garcia can be blamed for our loss to the Royals. Obviously, the Royals had a really good team with George Brett, coached by Dick Hauser, and we were out-coached. Now, that was supposed to be our World Series year. Now, the remnants of that squad eventually led to playoff runs into the late 80s, into the early 90s. And we knew that Toronto was going to win a World Series. Maybe 85 was too early. You can imagine this was our ninth season in Major League Baseball. But Alfredo Griffin, Tony Fernandez, Damaso Garcia, George Bell, all the other top players. You had Kelly Gruber around, Cecil Fielder, the great pitching staff, Clancy and Steve and everybody else, Henke and, the top players. But I think Garcia is pretty well the lost star of the Blue Jays. In 2023, very few people will talk about Damaso Garcia, but when he was on his game, mentally, physically, and otherwise, there was no better second baseman in the AL because he could hit with power at time, good base stealer, could field with the best of them. And anybody who comes to the St. Pedro de Macari, they're dedicated to baseball. So that's a legend of Damaso Garcia. If you like what we're doing here, we're a Blue Jay podcast. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.